happy to speak to you at a time that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is working hard to deepen the diversification of our economy. As I look around this hall, I see many of the very best of our entrepreneurs, investors, and financial experts, both in your official and personal capacity. You have made very important contributions to the development of our dear nation. We decided that since most of you reside in Lagos, the commercial, financial, and industrial hub of our nation, we should come to you to hold this important discussion for the good of our nation. We live at an exciting, unique, and historic time when scientists are probing the deepest parts of our oceans, which cover nearly 70% of the Earth's surface, to determine the harm which rising temperatures in the oceans cause coral reefs and other very important marine life. They are also exploring outer space at a level previously unknown. The aim is to establish self-sustaining human colonies, both on the moon and in other planets. Research is going on to find out how we can travel faster so as to approach the speed of light. We have seen what happened when the world was confronted with the unprecedented threat of COVID-19 pandemic to the global economy. Vaccines were quickly produced and used within a short period of under a year. This is unprecedented, even as such vaccines, through continuous research, are being designed to combat anticipated variants of the COVID-19 pandemic, whose structures are only imagined but not known as the virus keeps fighting back. It is important to know where our dear nation, Nigeria, stands on all these. Should Nigerians be just consumers of products of scientific research and innovation? No. We must be both producers and consumers of the essential products of scientific research and innovation. We must not forget that in the past, we paid a very big price whose adverse effect is still with us, when our ancestors stayed back and did very little at a time that some others navigated and explored the oceans and determined the limits of our planet. Subsequently, no single African was present when the boundaries of the various countries of Africa were drawn on a piece of paper showing the map of the continent. This event, sad as it was, did not even take place in Africa. It took place in another continent. As leaders in the private sector, it is important to remind you that in both ancient and modern times, no nation has ever become truly great without effective deployment of science and technology in nation building. Hence, for Nigeria to have this future that we desire, with respect to achieving food security, providing safe drinking water for all Nigerians, in addition to its use in agriculture and industry, providing shelter for our people, clothing both the old and the young, getting enough drugs and the appropriate medical equipment for our health care, fighting and defeating illiteracy through mass and high-quality education, alleviating poverty, strengthening our economy, protecting our environment, securing our nation, exploring outer space and the oceans. We need to effectively deploy science and technology. For over the past 5 years that I've been a minister, the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation has led the way in ensuring that our economy does not depend entirely on commodities, but rather depend on knowledge that is innovation-driven. When I became Honorable Minister on November 11, 2015, the ministry had only one policy, the National Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy, which was approved by the Federal Executive Council in 1986. It was reviewed a number of times, with the last review in 2012. This policy was only partly implemented because its lead organ, the National Research and Innovation Council, did not meet for 30 years. It was in January 2016, when I was barely 2 months old in office, that the National Research and Innovation Council, which has the president as chairman, met for the first time in 30 years. Since then, this council has met 8 times to help guide this important policy. We have since then put in place additional 5 policies, all approved by the Federal Executive Council. These policies, which are at different levels of implementation, are the National Science, Technology, and Innovation Roadmap 2017 to 2030, the National Strategy for Competitiveness in Raw Materials and Product Development, Presidential Executive Order Number 5, Leather and Leather Products Policy, and the Methanol Fuel Production Technology Policy. We have carried out tremendous reforms to prepare the ministry to serve the nation for not just this decade, but for a very long time to come. We have changed our vision and mission statements, our logo, core values, and critical success factors. We are currently restructuring the ministry to prepare it for the emerging technologies of both today and tomorrow. We are reviewing the National Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy to make it responsive to the new changes in the world. This year, President Muhammadu Buhari changed the name of the ministry from the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology to the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation. By this, we are to coordinate innovation activities in the country. We have, for the first time since Nigeria gained political independence in 1960 brought together all regulatory bodies in the country. This was first done in 2018 and later repeated this year in 2021. Our aim is to ensure that all regulatory bodies in the country help us maintain high standards comparable with the best in the world to promote Nigeria's competitiveness ranking. We have brought the academia, industry, and government together so that researchers, investors, manufacturers, and policymakers can work together for the good of the nation. Before now, each one worked separately. The Federal Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation is working hard to bring all these bodies together for the common good. All these efforts and more have been made to help us create jobs for our young people, fight and defeat extreme poverty, rebuild the middle class, strengthen the economy, create wealth for both individuals and the nation. We are working to prepare our nation for the post-crude oil era. We should not just see the problems that this can create, but rather concentrate on the tremendous opportunities that lie ahead of us. This we can do by effectively planning and implementing the necessary policies that will help us take advantage of the new direction in the use of renewable energy as a way to help protect the environment which the world is determined to follow. Irrespective of some challenges, we have conducted research into a number of our national problems. In 2018, some laboratories in the Federal Institute for Industrial Research, Oshodi, received International Standard Organization ISO certification. By this certification, the quality of goods certified in these laboratories do not require any further certification anywhere else in the world. Also, intellectual property of research findings are protected through patents. However, these research findings are most useful to the nation if they are converted into products and services that can be found in our markets and shops for local consumption as well as for export. We are using a number of measures to ensure that this is done. One of our agencies, the National Board for Technology Incubation, through technology diffusion, is passing on these valuable skills to many Nigerians in their centers spread across the country in every state of the Federation. We have, through an annual Science, Technology, and Innovation Expo, which was started since 2016, brought together inventors, innovators, researchers, and investors to help commercialize research findings. We have found out that these efforts are not enough because our country lacks the presence of venture capitalists. Venture capitalists in the technologically developed countries play the very important role of transforming ideas into goods by taking the necessary risks. In the absence of venture capitalists, we need to involve our top-rated entrepreneurs who are major risk takers in the development process. For so long, we have been dealing with manufacturers alone, but we need to utilize the risk bearers who will constitute the major off-takers of the products of scientific research and innovation activities by our scientists all over the country. The Director Generals and Chief Executive Officers of some of our agencies and some others will speak briefly to you on some of the works they have done. The Honorable Minister of State has already mentioned this. Some of the works they have done are very, very important in solving many of our national problems. Also, there is a mini exhibition showing some of the products arising from the research findings. You should not forget that you are the risk bearers. I am convinced that you constitute the most formidable member of the science, technology, and innovation ecosystem, and hence provide the best mechanism to transform existing research and development breakthroughs and findings to wealth through commercialization for industrial and services application. This effort is being made now because we have already laid the necessary policy and legal framework, creating the conducive environment for this to happen. This is good for your business. Nigeria is our country. We can no longer continue to rely on others to develop our country for us. We have all that it takes to achieve this. On behalf of the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, I call on all Nigerian entrepreneurs and investors to look inward and expand their businesses by helping to transform research findings into products, goods, and services. You will make more money by doing so. The bulk of the risk involved had already been taken by us through research and innovation activities. The Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation is willing, prepared, and ready to give all the support that is needed. And that is why you can see the ministry is fully represented here. The Honorable Minister of State is here, the Permanent Secretary is here, and the leadership of our agencies are all here to assure you that we want you as entrepreneurs in Nigeria to come and take these research findings, make money by converting them into products and services. We can't afford to have people come from outside Nigeria, take these research findings, go to their countries, transform them into products, goods and services, and bring them back to Nigeria at very high cost. In doing so, we lose so many things. The jobs that should have been created in Nigeria, we lose those jobs. The wealth that should have been created in Nigeria for individuals like you, we lose that. The wealth that Nigeria would have also gained, because when you make money, you pay tax, and government uses that tax to build our infrastructure, That also will be lost. But the most painful and the most important is that by doing that, we deny ourselves the self-reliance which our nation should have. Because a country like Nigeria was designed for greatness. By 2050, by the grace of Almighty God, our population will make us the third most populous nation in the world by 2050. Today, we are one of the most populous in the world. We have the largest concentration of black people in the world. We have the largest economy in Africa. We have the largest population in Africa. So we are just not any other country. So we can no longer allow what we can do for ourselves, benefit from it. We allow others to do it, benefit from that, impoverish us in the process, and make themselves wealthier. So this meeting is very important because this is the first of its kind in our history. We looked through our records to know whether the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, which is the name it was called before, had ever invited entrepreneurs to let them know what the ministry is doing, to let them know how the entrepreneurs can come in and benefit from the research that is being done in the country. And we are speaking not just for the research that is being done in the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, no, because our mandate is to coordinate all research, all innovation, all over the country. And we have research going on in other agencies, in some other ministries, in our universities, in our polytechnics, in our industrial laboratories. It is our mandate to coordinate all this. So we are saying that the time is right, and that there is no nation that can have people like you. We have seen all the major banks are represented here. We have seen all the major investment companies are represented here. So what else do we need? We don't need more than you to decide that as patriotic citizens, that this is the time to invest in the country. This is the time to look inwards. And if you are going to make money, you will make money in this process. But you are going to help us solve many of the problems we have. We want to make sure that every Nigerian who wants to work is able to do so. And we believe that when that happens, it will also help us in the security challenges that we face. Because if we can employ all those who want to work, definitely, that will reduce those that can be recruited, into carrying out criminal activities. So this meeting is unique. It is historic. It has never happened before. It's happening now, and we want all Nigerians to take note of it, and that we as a nation can all benefit. We can benefit from this. There is no doubt that if all of us can work together, be patriotic, determined, and dedicated, our dear nation, Nigeria, will one day lead the world. We are convinced that this can happen. If you doubt it, just imagine 30 years ago, whoever thought that China will be where she is today, 30 years ago. So let us not think that 30 years from now, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, Nigeria will be in a position to solve many of these problems we have. There is no nation that has not passed through these stages of problems, insecurity, unemployment, and so on. But the most important thing is that we have a president who recognizes that these problems should be solved. They must be confronted. You can't leave the problems just and say, okay, time will look into them. No. That's why every effort is being made to address all these problems, and we believe that this economic problem is one that you, as our risk bearers, can now come in and help us, to ensure that we'll find solutions. So you should be champions. We're calling you champions of national development to give Nigeria a greater voice and influence in the world. Nigeria expects this from you. Thank you so much. God bless Nigeria.